Maybe I'll be smart and keep it to myself. This is a funny story now. You thought the story was bad? It gets worse. Hello, I've been scammed. And he was like, oh. Story time of how I got scammed. Went to the BTS concert without tickets, then got a ticket, and then got into the concert. All last minute. Let me break this down for you. This is like a whole debriefing. You know, get a snack, a cooling beverage. My car is making sounds because it's really hot in the UK right now. And if I turn my car off, then I'll die. So yeah, so the BTS concert was yesterday. I did end up going, although I got scammed. First, let me go back to the beginning, try and explain what happened. So first of all, the very last minute decided I wanted to go. It was like a month prior. I missed pre-sale and I missed when the tickets first went out. And then after that, like a few weeks after that, I decided, oh, I want to go to the concert. I was looking at various ways on how people got tickets and stuff. Someone did say that they waited till like the week before the concert. Ticketmaster drops extra tickets, so I was waiting for that. But because in that video they said 1 week before, I wasn't mentally prepared that 3 weeks before the concert they would drop you tickets. And I was like, are you joking? Are you joking? And I lost the ticket war. I think this is like kind of bad on my half because I didn't prepare like at all. There was no sense of preparation. I very last second decided that I wanted to do it. I also didn't want to go on like Viva Go or whatever, which is so ridiculous. Number one, they're really expensive, and like number two, what if they're like scam tickets, which is ironic, you know, foreshadowing what happened afterwards. Like I couldn't justify paying like £500 to be in nosebleeds. That was crazy, and I really wanted to be on the floor. But I was like, whatever, I'll accept like hundreds, 200s maybe, because people were like, the view in those areas are still really good, even if you're not lucky enough to get like floor or like the first, like the bottom seating. There's like the rotisserie chicken bit in the middle, the microwave plate in the middle. Then there's a big bit overall, like this shape stage around, and then there's these thrust bits where the members will walk out sometimes. They only came to my section once. It was RM and JK went to bit where I was. So I didn't see them up close, but I saw that they were human and real, okay? I did see them. I'm explaining this to you, and as I'm explaining, my brain's going, I cannot believe that I actually can be explaining this stuff. Like, what do you mean I was at the concert and now I can explain like the logistics of staging and whatever? If any of this is like kind of wrong, or you're like, oh, I was there and it wasn't like that, please comment. I'm so serious. Just like clarify for people who haven't been or are thinking of going and they're really anxious, because I think having this information out there is so important, because it's like things you wish you knew before you went. Anyway, so I wanted standing initially. I don't know how I'm gonna get this. Maybe I'll go on Viago and like sell my soul and get these really expensive tickets. This is so embarrassing, but I even entered the lottery twice. It's like the birthday draw, so yeah, that's kind of embarrassing. And I won £1 in the first draw, and then the second I didn't win anything. I was like, I need money so I can purchase a ticket and go. I don't know, I was just thinking if I entered and I won some money, it would be really nice. Anyway, I didn't win, clearly. What a shame. Right, I've steered off topic so much. It's been like 10 minutes of me yapping. I tried to win the lottery. I didn't win, and I was like, shit, now how am I going to do this? I was like narrowing my vision so much. I was not thinking about other options. So I decided to make a TikTok. To me, it's a mess because every 5 seconds, I'm selling my 5 tickets. I have 3 extra tickets I'm trying to get rid of. And today, when there's no BTS concert, BTS in London is over. It is over. People are in my comments right now. They're saying, I'm selling my 3. I'm like, for what, bitch? For what? For what? What are you selling your ticket for? They don't know when the concert is. They're not in the know. They don't know anything about BTS. They just know word BTS and tickets are trending, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna pretend I'm selling them. And I know this because I got scammed. I got scammed. I am so ashamed to even admit it. When it happened, I was like, oh my god, this is never, I'm going to my grave with this information. Because what do you mean me, Janelle Lawrence, got scammed? What do you mean I got scammed? I've always been this person that's like, you know, sometimes my family will buy something off like a Temu adjacent thing, and I'm like, you're never gonna get that. That's never gonna ship. That is a scam. That is probably not real. And even if it is real, they're gonna send you something that just looks really inaccurate to what was proposed. I was always just like, yeah, I will never get scammed. I'm not that type of person. I'm too smart. Tell me why this person messages me. They're like, oh, are you still after those BTS tickets? And I'm like, yeah, I am. This is so embarrassing to admit out loud, because what do you mean I'm such an idiot? Oh, this had to happen, because otherwise I wouldn't have like wised up. I would have got scammed further down the line. It would have been something way worse. This girl messaged me. They were like, oh, I have 4 tickets for the 2 days of BTS. How many tickets do you need? I'm like, 1. I need 1 ticket, please. Please give me 1 ticket. And they were like, of course. And I was like, what? Where are they? What tickets? They sent me a little screen recording. This was an advanced scammer. I don't know where they found the screen recording. I need to like work through this. I need to process. So they sent me a screen recording of their tickets. Okay, it says VIP standing, and I was like, ah. If it said anything else, I would have been like, no. They said VIP standing, and it was 150. 150 VIP standing for 150? Are you joking? So I was like, that's a steal. I was like, oh, I even feel bad not telling them. Oh my god. I was like, I even feel bad not telling them that oh, that's really underpriced for like the location, because this VIP sound check tickets. I was like, oh, I feel so bad for not telling you that this is underpriced for sound check VIP standing. But I didn't say anything. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just be smart. Maybe I'll be smart and not say anything. Maybe I'll be smart and keep that to myself. Saying smart in this context makes me want to throw up. I was like, how much? And they were like, 150. And I was like, oh my god, that's a steal. They were like, so what's your email and stuff so I can send them the instant transfer? And I was like, oh my god, you're so great. This is amazing. I'm gonna see BTS VIP, like what I've been manifesting. So I ignored all the alarm bells in my head. Literally before I even said yes, something in my brain told me, like, go on Google and use the image to search for them, like, and their profile. And I ignored my intuition. I ignored my intuition like an idiot, and I was like, never mind. I was so convinced this person was real as well, because they were like, oh, I don't know if I can trust you, girl, because like what if I send a ticket first and you don't give me back my money? They were like, oh, I'm gonna have to trust you here. And I was like, oh my god, we're gonna have to trust each other. And I was like, this is an army bonding experience. So yeah, that happened, and I was like, yeah, let's work this out. I'll send half the money. I said I'll send the £75 and you send the tickets, and then I send the other half of the £75, okay? So at first they were like, I don't know, because you might run off in me. And I was like, we're gonna have to trust each other here, okay? And then they were like, oh fine, okay, whatever. So here's the kicker. All right, you thought the story was bad? It gets worse. I send them the money. I sent them the money. I don't know if you heard. I sent them the money. I sent them 75 Great British pounds. 75 Great British pounds. And I said, here you go. Where's my tickets? And what do you think happened next? What do you think happened next? They said,
I've been talking to my sister, and she says that you're gonna have to send the whole price because she's changed her mind, and I think that maybe you won't send the rest after.
And I was like, babe, I just sent you £75. It gets even worse, because before that, I tried to send the £75 through my banking app of choice. Oh, actually, no. Before that, it gets worse again. Because I was like, do you have PayPal? Because that's a safer way to send money, because it's not directly linked to your card, okay? And you're like, no. Do you have PayPal? They were like, no. And then they were like, instant bank transfer? And I was like, oh, yeah, of course. Because I'm an idiot. Well, not anymore. Not anymore. Never again, girl. Never again will I be blindsided by desperation. The whole moral of the story is here that desperation will destroy you. Remove it from your life. You don't need it. Don't be desperate for shit, okay? Never be desperate for shit. All right. Anyway, they said they didn't have PayPal. I said I didn't have Revolut. They gave me their bank details and I sent them £75 like a fucking moron. Editing Janelle, I also have to hop in and add that I completely forgot a portion of the story. They also said, oh, I'm with my friend at work and there's like troubles going on with my bank account, so I'm gonna have to use my friend's bank account, like so you can transfer them the money and then they'll transfer, I don't know, a million different excuses, and I closed my eyes, the blinkers were on, and I know what you're thinking, Janelle, you're a fucking fool. Yes, Janelle of the past was indeed a fool. And then my bank says, this person is being blocked from payments until tomorrow because we're not sure about them. It said, do you want to continue? And that should have been, I don't know what's wrong with me. The the greed of the 150 VIP tickets was getting to me, okay? I honestly, I've learned, and I'm like, this is a funny story now, but it's not funny. And it could have had a way worse ending, but it doesn't. Anyway, I'll get to that in a second, okay? My bank's like, please don't send the money. My bank's like, please reconsider. And I was like, no, I trust this person like a moron. And then they were like, all right, okay, we can't help you, bitch. You're stupid as fuck. Do what you want. Let that £75 leave your account because you're an idiot. So the money sends, but it doesn't send the same day. It delays, and I was like, that's never happened before. And I said this person, they were like, that's so weird. Try your other account. And then my other account just blocks it. They're like, no, I'm not sending that. And I was like, King, wait, you've kind of dropped me out of my delusion a little bit. Let me go and reverse search their profile like I said I was going to before this whole thing started. And lo and behold, they had been stealing someone else's content and then rebrandishing it as, I'm BTS Army. And it was convincing. Okay, maybe it wasn't that convincing. Maybe if I'd like sleuthed a bit harder, because clearly I did like discover what they'd been doing. If I'd sleuthed a little bit harder, if I wasn't blinded by the desperation of needing these tickets, I would have been fine. I would have been like, oh, nearly got me, bitch, but you didn't. I was like, oh, my heart was pounding. I was like, I need these tickets, otherwise I'm gonna die. The desperation kills you. Never be desperate for anything in this life, because what is meant for you is meant for you and you will have it. When you're so like hyper focused, you won't see other aspects. You're like, I want this, and you relax. It's like you're just naturally drawn to it. You don't have to do too much. You're doing too much if you're too desperate, as you can see from this story, okay? So my intuition was warning me, my bank was warning me, and then I finally checked and I was like, wow, what a moron, okay? And I was like, oh, I'm taking this to my grave because that's so embarrassing that I just got scammed. And then I said some choice words to them and then they blocked me. So clearly I was right. So I was seething, okay? Seething. And I was like, whatever. I was only willing to spend about like 150 on tickets. And I was like, now I'm gonna have to find another ticket for like £75 and I'm just gonna have to whatever. But I couldn't let it go. So I went to the bank. One of BTS, I went to the bank. And I said to the little man at the bank, hello, I've been scammed. And he was like, oh, let me get you in with someone who can help you and have a little chat. I go to this open booth. I don't know what the point of the booths are because they're open. And I was like, now everyone's going to hear that I got scammed off TikTok. I explained the situation to him. He's like, can you explain in more detail? Was it through a site? I was like, no, it was through TikTok DMs, please. I'm so embarrassed. And he was like, never mind, Queen. I'm going to call the scam department, but I'm going to set your expectations on the floor because you're probably not going to get this money back. You're not going to see it because you willingly gave your information away. And I was like, you're right, King. That was an idiotic move of me. But he said, I'm gonna call them anyway and we're gonna see what we can do. So he calls, he does all the hard, annoying things for me, and then he puts me on the phone to some scam specialist person. I explained the situation. I explained that I was scammed through TikTok DMs because I was desperate for a ticket. I literally had to say I wanted concert tickets and I was a moron and I just trusted someone that I couldn't see. There were so many warning signs. Someone else in my DM said, because they saw my post, they were like, girl, don't purchase tickets off people on TikTok. Don't do it. Because these scammers are rampant. And I was like, it won't be me. I'll be able to tell. I should have listened to that queen. Queen, wherever you are, thank you for trying to warn me. And thank you for, you know, trying to help me see through my delusion. It didn't work. Once bitten, twice shy, as they say. But it'll work from now on. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your 2 cents and your help. I was on the phone to these people and they said to me, girl, let me put you through to someone else, after I explained the situation. And they put me on the phone to this dude and he was like, can you clarify more, please? And he asked me loads of questions. Oh, one of the questions he asked me, do you have any disabilities? And I was like, my time to shine has come. I'm autistic. And yes, I am autistic and I have ADHD. And yes, I am naive. I like to deny it, but you know, autism has this thing of making it really hard to read people. And I like to deny it, but I'm only good. I'm not even that good at reading people in real life. I'm going to be so honest. But I can get their energy. I just don't know their intention. But I only can do it if I see them. And once again, I couldn't see this person. So it's like online, it's a whole facade, whatever. And plus I was desperate. So I told him that and he was like, oh, okay, cool. Does it like impact your life? And I was like, yeah, obviously. I didn't say it like that. I was like, yeah, it does. Okay, it really does. Please. He then is just like doodly loop and he's like, yeah, your money will be back with you in. I was like, excuse me? He's like, your money will be back with you in 24 hours. And I was like, what, pardon? What do you mean my money will be back? And he was like, yeah. And then he just like gave me a little talk about it. He's like, yeah, we get these calls a lot. Yeah, so he is like, yeah, your money will be back with you in 24 hours. Please don't get scammed again. And I was like, oh, thank you, King. Thank you, King. And then he hung up. And then the initial guy who I went into the booth with asked me, so how did it go? And I was like, yeah, I got my money back. He was like, excuse me? What? What do you mean you got your money back? I was like, yeah. He said it'll be with me in 24 hours. He was like, that is unheard of. He's like, I've done this so many times and people do not get their money back. Do you know what I did in the car before I left? I made up a little monologue of me getting my money back. I was like acting like it was the future and I was like, yeah, I got my money back. And it was actually like really easy. I got my money back, indeed. I did. And it didn't take 24 hours. It generally took like 10 minutes. I got in the car. The stress that fell off my body is unbelievable. Because I was telling myself, oh, I'm not stressed. I'm not that bothered about it. No, it was bothering me. The stress that melted off my body, let me tell you, it was something else. Oh, even thinking about it now makes me feel relieved. But anyway, I go get a little bubble tea for me and my brother. I get in my car and the money is back in my account. And I'm like, they work fast. These people work fast. I also did manifest that it would come in way faster than they said it would prior to that, because I didn't know that it was a 24-hour waiting period. I was like, it'll be back right away. And it was right, it was. So I got reimbursed. I don't know if they took it out of that person's account or just gave me an extra £75. It's not that much money anyway, so I feel like a bank wouldn't have a problem giving you £75. So I got my £75 back. And then I was like, I mean, I'd already decided at this point, prior to me getting scammed, that I'm going anyway. So I bought my coach ticket. This is also where the desperation came in, because I'd already booked the coach and I was like, shit, if I end up in London without going to see BTS, I'm gonna be so embarrassed and I'm gonna be like, oh, I can never tell anyone about this. So that's also what fueled me to make that really ridiculous choice, was fear, like a big fear. And I feel like I struggle with this a lot, like the fear of looking silly or the fear of like whatever. There's just a lot of fear, and so it makes me do rash things, which I think is also linked to autism and ADHD. But whatever, we live and we learn, and that's just what the human experience is about, living and learning and collecting experiences. So anyway, that whole scam thing aside, I had my coach ticket. I now have my £75 back, and then the next day I was like, which was yesterday, I had to go see BTS because I did pay for the coach. And yeah, I get dressed in the morning, I put my makeup on, get on the coach, and I still don't have a ticket. The night before I went on to Ticketmaster and I was looking, you know, it's like almost and then not really. So they was like, you're in queue, keep your seat in 3, and then you open it and it's like, no, never mind. But it was like £300. I was like, oh, it's kind of expensive anyway, maybe I shouldn't. So then I was like, I'm just gonna go to bed and I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and I'm just gonna go and we're gonna be fine. So I did just that. I got ready, I packed my little bag, I showed my outfit to my mummy, but I drove myself to Swansea, parked my car overnight, which was actually kind of scary as well. Parked my car, I go on the coach, and I'm like, in my mind I made up a little story the day before. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get on the coach and I'm gonna meet someone, like a group of people who have a spare VIP ticket and they're like accepting a really low price for it because one of their friends ditched last second, and I'm gonna get that ticket. I was envisioning myself and the feelings I'd have in the front row. I go to the sound check, whatever. The sound check thing wouldn't have worked though, so kind of everything works out in mysterious ways. Okay, I did get on the coach. There wasn't any group of friends that were blatantly looking for a person to buy their ticket. So I sat there and I was like, oh, maybe I was being delusional, maybe I was being crazy. So I go on Ticketmaster like every few, and then I go on Viagogo, and then I go on whatever the hell the other reselling scalper apps are called, and I'm like, oh, I can't find anything. And Ticketmaster did show, but once again it was like £300, and I was like, oh, it's not really good to see. And then I nearly did buy a ticket that was like expensive, and then I realized, oh, that was actually nosebleeds, never mind. Something tells me I should just like not. I looked back and I looked at the description, it was like, yeah, nosebleeds. So I was like, that is actually extortionate that you're selling this ticket for like £300. Insane. But no, I then tell myself, let me calm down, let me take a okay, and my ticket will come to me. Like, we're literally 10 minutes away from the drop-off point, and there's this lady with her daughter. The 2 seats across from me, there's this one lady by herself as well. She's attending the concert by herself, and then behind her there were this mother and daughter who was giving out freebies, and those 3 were talking to each other. So, but this woman, the mother, she was very confident. She spoke out loud. She was like, and does anyone want freebies? And I was like, I'm gonna borrow her confidence right now. So I said to the lady sitting across, because we'd like smiled, I said to her, excuse me, do you think you can ask that lady to ask if anyone has any spare tickets? And she said to me, I have a spare ticket. And I was like, what do you mean you have a spare ticket? She was like, I have a spare ticket, and I thought it was gonna go to waste. And I was like, say psych right now, you have a spare ticket? And I just asked like 10 minutes before we got off the coach, because I would have never seen that lady again, or I would have seen her when we came back on the coach, but it would have been too late by then. She says to me, I have a spare ticket. She was like shocked that I asked. She was like, I can't believe that I actually got someone to buy the ticket off me. And I was like, I can't believe you have a ticket. And she was like, did you get on this coach without a ticket? I was like, yep, hell yeah, I did. And she's like, that is crazy work. Crazy work. I was like, yep, I know. Delulu's relulu, as they say. So this lady, this lovely lady, then transfers me the ticket first, and I pay her then afterwards. I got the hundreds, and I got right where BTS left at the end of the concert, so I got to see them relatively close up. Do you know how much the ticket was? It was £100, near the top of the 100 section. And I also got in so quickly, like all of my side got in so fast. I wasn't queuing for anything really. I got in, I was beside people who were like quite friendly. I don't know if it's like a common thing for Tottenham Stadium, but they did not check my bag at all. Oh my god, don't buy their drinks. Whatever you do, get a drink before you enter the venue and like gulp it down and have the empty bottle if you need. Or you could just take the bottle in with the liquid in, because they didn't check. Or if you're gonna get a drink, because there were some of them that look good. If you get the bubble tea, they give it to you in a cup that's like this big and this wide. This much bubble tea. There's like 5 pearls in it. And do you know how much I paid for that drink? £6.50 or so. 6 great British pounds. I got scammed again. I clearly got scammed again, because that drink was warm too. Warm. I was perturbed, okay. Because why are you giving me a lukewarm drink that I paid £6 for and there's no ice in it? Whatever, it was my fault for asking for bubble tea. I should have just asked for the water. And then the concert started, and I had a really good time. And I was so like out of it. I don't even know. It's like I couldn't absorb. It's like after the fact, I got into the coach, I was like, that actually happened. Like that actually happened. That's crazy. That just happened. I saw BTS. And I've been wanting to see them for like 7 years. An overview of like my experience, I say. I did have a really amazing time. But now there's this weird feeling that I feel like I got into the coach and I was like, I need to see them like up close. I need those VIP tickets. Oh my god, I need to be on like sound check. I need to be, you know, random number like 1. I don't know what it is. It's like Although I did see them, they were so far away and I spent most of the time looking at them through the screen. I need to like lock eyes with them. So I don't know what it is. My brain is just telling me I need to. It feels more like an intuition thing as well. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And it's also like altered my brain chemistry, which is so weird. Like the whole experience has made me feel different on like a molecular level. I really don't know how to explain what I'm talking about. If you've seen BTS live, or if you've seen any other band that you really inspires you live, or any other like group of people, I think you might know what I'm talking about. I feel different. There is something that I need to do, and I haven't figured it out yet. I need to journal, I need to write it down, because there's something inside me that feels different and I don't know what it is. And I don't know if I'm being dramatic, but it's I actually can't explain it. And I also just I feel like to figure out the rest of it, finish this puzzle piece, I need to see them up close, which is why I'm actually gonna try and do another crazy stunt. I'm gonna try and go see them in Paris next week on Friday. Yeah, they're playing Saturday and Sunday in like Stade de France, I think it's called, which you don't have access to on Ticketmaster for some reason. Part of this video was to be a debrief, and the other part of it was to be, I'm calling army who have spare tickets, I'm calling companies, I'm calling like freaking Ticketmaster themselves or Stade de France or whatever. Like, I respect that it sounds crazy and it sounds delulu and it sounds like I'm just doing too much, but I just really want to take that risk. I don't know if maybe I'm just addicted to the adrenaline rush of like doing something risky or like out of my comfort zone, because it's like 5 years ago I would have never dreamed of doing this, because I didn't leave the house. I was such a hermit 5 years ago. I didn't go out anywhere, I didn't do anything. So I feel like it could also just be the adrenaline rush of me actually going out and experiencing life, like seeing things. I don't even want to think about it that much because it makes me really emotional, but like 5 years ago I didn't leave my house. I didn't want to see anyone, I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to be indoors. I spent like 3 summers in a row just inside. I didn't do anything. Or maybe I would go out like one day and I'd be like, oh, this is too much for me. And especially when it was like just before I got diagnosed with autism. I'm very late diagnosed autism and ADHD. So I think it's been about 2 years, almost 3 years since I was diagnosed with autism, and like a year or 2 since I was diagnosed with ADHD. There was this period of my life where I was quite, you know, not nice to myself is what I'm gonna say, without, because I don't want to get this video taken down. I really didn't want to be around. It's like it was a struggle to get me to leave my house. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do anything by myself. My mum would always have to come with me, and then I was on this program with this my occupational therapist, and she would have to like go with me places and stuff. So it's like, to me it's like so wild that I even went out yesterday. I did that. Like it's so much to me that I had the courage to go out and like, you know, choose something that I really want. There was like a really dark time when I lived on my own and I was in Cardiff for a bit, and it's like, this is before I had like the worst part of my mental health crisis. But I was like an art me, I'd draw like BTS fan art and stuff, and like some of the joy I'd feel was watching, like the rare moments of joy was interacting with other Anyhoo artists and watching BTS videos. If I remember it being so dark in my flat, and I just like, that's all I do, draw. I taught myself how to draw digitally because BTS, because I was drawing fan art of them, and I drew every single day of 2020 and like most days of 2021. They literally put me on the path of the art I'm doing right now, because without them and without that, like me being so locked in and wanting to make art for them and wanting to interact with other art me's online, I literally would not have had such a massive growth in my artwork as I did. But it's like BTS have, I don't know, I feel like they've genuinely just changed my life. And I know this is like a common story across all the armies, but I don't just like BTS, they're so inspirational to me. And even their story, it makes me feel like I can actually do what the most delusional part of my brain is telling me that I want to do. Have so many crazy dreams now. I don't just want to like never wake up. There's so many things I want to do, and I feel like I can do it now. Be delulu, because the people you hate the most are also being delulu, like the leaders of certain countries, you know. What do you think they're doing? They don't sit and think, oh, maybe I don't deserve to be. They don't care. They're like, of course I deserve to be here, I'm here. Or even before they do that, they're like, yeah, of course I can be there. Like, why couldn't I be? There's no reason why I couldn't. People that have money, they're born into life with money, they don't have these inhibitions that people who have to like work their way up have. They're not thinking, oh, maybe I don't deserve that. That's not a question of their mind, because deserving and not deserving is not real. I'm just gonna go out and say that. They're human concepts. There's infinite paths that your life can take, and if your brain is making mental blocks, and especially the way you're brought up, or things that happen to you, traumas that happen, experience that you go through, they create mental blocks in certain paths. And if you don't work to remove them, if you're not like locked in, taking the active steps to do what you want, I feel like your spirit will just, or your life will just go through the path of least resistance, the path that has no blockages, if you get me. So it's like you have to remove them blockages. And by doing that, like the way to do that is just to be basically delusional. And work from sitting with that feeling. It's like, why do I, like for example, for me right now, I'd feel guilty for wanting another thing that I want. And it's like, why? Let me sit and think of why do I feel that? Because I've been told in the past it's greedy to want more when you already got something. There's other people doing what you want and they're fine, and no one's throwing stones at them. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna leave this car park. I've finished getting my cleaning products, so I'm just gonna dip. I also found a spider in my room today. Did not like that. But yeah, guys, remember to be delulu, because delulu is real lulu. And please, I'm begging you, if anyone has one single VIP ticket, let me know. If you want to sponsor my trip for me, please pay for my flight and pay for my room and board. Thank you very much. If you don't ask, you don't get. So let me just make it very clear of what I'm requesting, and I'm gonna be very delusional about it. It would be great if I could have you know, a paid for flight to Paris and back from Bristol. It would be great if I could have, you know, a room to sleep in for 2 days. It'd be really great if I could get one single VIP ticket for day 1 of BTS in Paris. Yeah, 3 things I'm asking for, just 3. And if you can't do that, just like share and repost this video so it can like get my voice out, get me heard. I hope you learn from my lessons as well. Please don't get scammed out there. The world is full of untrustworthy people, but it's also full of good people. Bye bye. See you in Paris. Be delusional and stay whimsical. I'll see you with the next one.